We wanted to provide you with a little bit more information about electronic accessibility, and so I invited Erin Page to join me for a discussion and demonstration. Erin is the Student Accessibility Specialist at UM Online, and together we provide lots of workshops around campus so that faculty understand how to design accessible online courses. So Erin, I was just wondering if you would want to talk about your experience as a student, either as a high school student or a college student. What's really effective and helpful for you in terms of how teachers conduct a face-to-face class?
You know, one of the biggest things, and I always ask this of every professor at the start of every class, or every semester I should say, it's really helpful if they try and describe what exactly it is that they're doing. So rather than pointing at an object and saying, we're going to use this and do that, they actually will describe what the object is that they're pointing at. So if they're pointing at the accounts receivable number listed on the board, they'll say accounts receivable number. That way I can actually follow along more precisely with what's actually going on, and I can take better notes because of it. Mm-hmm. Another really big thing is getting early access to documents, as opposed to having to ask the teacher to give me the electronic document that I can use. Get it to me ahead of time, or at the very least at the exact same time as everybody else. That way when all of my classmates are using handouts provided in the class, I have access to it as well.
So paper's basically completely inaccessible.
Paper is. For somebody like myself who can't see the paper, there's literally nothing that I can do when you hand me a paper unless I've got like a scanner that I can take it and scan it on and have it OCR'd into readable text by a screen reader. But if I'm just sitting here in class, all I've got is my computer and you hand me a piece of paper, there's nothing that I can do with it.
Mm-hmm. And even, I mean, the implications are really deep on that. For instance, paper money. That's inaccessible. Some countries have accessible paper money, but you found a solution to that too.
I did, yeah, and it's a solution that I've been able to do with a lot of different things. For paper money, for example, I actually have an app on my iPhone. All I do is I hold out the paper money and I wave my phone in front of it, and it will identify it. It'll read aloud. This is a $5 bill. This is a $10 bill or 20, whatever the denomination is. I also have an app that does that for identifying colors. I have another app that I recently just got called LookTell that I can use to scan barcodes on items to have it identify the item to me that way. Or if the item doesn't have a barcode, I can take a picture of it, put in a description, and then say I need to identify that item later on. My phone will recognize that item because of that and will read me out that description.
Oh, that's really cool.
A similar thing that I used to overcome a barrier in one of my classes that I'm in just now, I'm taking a finance class, and I really ran into a barrier in the calculator that they were using. It's a business finance calculator, and it's not an accessible calculator. So I was tied to a sighted person in order to do any of my homework. They've got to be there to operate the calculator for me. I recently came across a free financial calculator app on my iPhone that is accessible to the iPhone screen reader. So I can actually now perform most of those operations on my own using my accessible iPhone.
Yeah, that's really great. Are there other things that teachers can do for you that make the class an equivalent experience with all the other students in the class?
You know, providing electronic documents is always such a big one, to provide that equal access. Knowing whether or not the electronic document they're providing is accessible is another big thing, because so often I'll get a PDF document from a teacher and it turns out this PDF is a scanned image PDF, so I can't read it in its current shape. So that's always a big one. You know, another one is there's so much resistance, or so much concern, I should say, over cheating. And some of that really translates into objections with faculty when it comes to like scheduling exams. I've had some faculty who insist that I cannot take the exam before anybody else. I've had other faculty insist that I cannot take it after anybody else because they're concerned about cheating. And so while I understand that cheating is a concern, you can't let fear of cheating lead to these other issues, like, you know, denying me access to the extended time that I get on my tests. Mm-hmm. So that, I think, has been a real big barrier as well.
So let's look at document accessibility, and let's look at heading structure first, Erin, and see how your screen reader interacts with that heading structure.
Sure. So there's two different ways in which a screen reader will interact with heading structure. One of them is by just simply pressing, well, with JAWS, I should say, but that's by simply pressing the letter H. They can press that and move from one heading to the next, to the next, to the next throughout the document. So I'll just demonstrate that now.
H Summer Semester 2014 heading level 1. C&I 518 inclusion and collaboration heading level 1. Course information heading level 2. Course description heading level 2. Course format heading level 2.
So I'm sure that sounds pretty fast to you right now. I wanted to kind of give you an idea as to what it sounds like when I, or somebody who's been using a screen reader for a long time actually uses it. We run it at a significantly higher rate. It takes quite a while to learn how to get used to understanding it at that rate, but it allows you to actually absorb it much more quickly. So I'll go ahead and reduce the speed for you so you can actually understand what it's saying here.
Alt V, menu, voices submenu, V, voice adjustment, dot, enter, reading menus. Tab, voice adjust, tab, synthesizer text tab, voice adjust colon combo box, tab, voice, rate colon 74%.
So I usually run it at 75. For the purposes of this, I think we will turn this
44%,
down
43%,
to 20.
25%, 20%.
Okay.
JAWS.
So,
Alt tab, 518 underline syllabus underline summer underline 2014 revised dot PDF dash Adobe Reader. 5.
okay, so now it's a lot slower, I'm sure you can tell. So, using that heading structure, just by pressing the letter H with JAWS, I can go from one heading to the next to the next.
H Summer Semester 2014 heading level 1.
There's the title of it, and it says heading level 1.
C&I 518 inclusion and collaboration heading level 1.
There's a course title, also listed as heading
Course
1.
information colon heading level 2.
Course information, heading level 2.
Course description colon
Course
heading level
description.
2.
So I can just keep pressing H,
Course format colon required reading required texts
and
supplemental
I'm
recommended.
quickly moving through all these different sections of the document.
Great, and I'm going to show on my computer how I put that heading structure in. So I just used this styles pane up here to go ahead and make this an H1, and then I came down here and I took this information and notice I made it an H2. So I'm just using these headings in Word to make the structure for me. I'm not manually enlarging and bolding text. I'm letting Word do that for me.
Another way that a screen reader user will interact with the heading structure, they can actually have their screen reader
JAWS.
provide them
Heading
with
list
a
dialog.
list of all
Headings
the
list
headings.
view. Recommended texts for those who would like further optional reading colon 3. 9 of 24.
So now I've just got a list of all the headings in the document. I can press the up or down arrows
Course
to
object.
move
Course
through
guide.
it.
Student conduct.
The great thing
H summer.
about using a headings list is, say I've been in this document once before, and I know there's a particular section that I want to get into. I know that's where the information is that I'm after. Let's say it's called weekly assignments. I can actually bring up my headings list, press the letter W,
W. Weekly assignments colon 3.
weekly assignments, takes me
Enter.
straight to it, and
Heading
now I'm
level
down
3
at
weekly
that part of the document, and this is actually 3 pages into the document. So had that heading structure not have been there, I would have had to have started at the top of the document and kept mashing my down arrow key through 3 whole pages before I would have gotten to here.